All right. So today I'm really excited and really nervous because I am going to be offering you a 4-step scalable business structure. I'm just going to offer you just one model of something that works, right? And I am going to also offer you all the caveats and the real talk and the truth bombs that go along with business strategy. So I'm Isha. I'm a somatic intimacy alchemist. I am a sovereignty coach. I support people in their relationships, but I also support people in building their bespoke business and really supporting them behind the scenes. I'm much more of a behind the scenes person, and working with the nervous system and working in helping you show up to a business that you love and that loves you back, both in your brain and your body and your bank account. So right, when I talk about offering you a model and a blueprint, I want to say that blueprints don't work for people. And it's not just about human design. It's not just about, how you approach your work and what works that way. Even though a business strategy is perfectly sound, makes sense, it doesn't make sense for all people. And it may not work for your unique life situation. The most important thing, in my opinion, it has to be based on truth. Business has to be based on truth. I mean, there are a lot of people out there selling bullshit, selling absolute fluff, and making money off of it. And I think that we've seen a really big shift in the last 2 years, the last 2.5 years since COVID, right? There was an explosion of online businesses, and that's the main way that people interacted, and that worked for a while. And people were buying lots of things, and they really they noticed that those solutions didn't necessarily work for them, and that the answers or the solutions were deeper than the surface fluff stuff that was being presented. And that's why I think it's so important that whatever is offered now has to be based in truth. And when I say that, I mean, it has to be based on the truth of who you are. It has to be congruent. Like how you present yourself in the world has to be congruent with what's actually happening in your life, right? It has to be sustainable in that way. Sorry, my computer is not plugged in. Now it is. So that congruence builds trust with your clients, right? When you show up as a full spectrum human in your full spectrum humanity, that works, that builds trust. People are looking for, people buy when they sense that they feel safe in your presence, right? And safety is transmitted through that congruency that you emit in your online presentation, in your life, right? It just resonates. It's a vibration. And when you show up in this way that honors your full spectrum humanity, this also feels successful to your system, to your body, because that congruency feels good within yourself, right? And it's like, there's no parts of you, you're not hiding. Because when you're hiding, when you feel like you have to present something in order to be liked or in order to be digestible or palatable to an audience, you are hiding. And this is high burnout shit. This is a recipe for burnout, right? So, and this process of congruency is harder than it sounds, right? We have visibility wounds, which is what I'm going to get in the live that I'm presenting next week, right? We have fear of being seen in some of these vulnerable parts. We don't always know how to present them. We have shame associated with some parts of our human experiences. We obviously have fear around being seen because maybe in our families of origin, we weren't seen. And we weren't seen sometimes in our, the most beautiful parts of ourselves, usually intuition or sensitivity, right? Or our capacity to feel deeply. It was often shamed or said it was too much, or we weren't enough for some people in our communities, in our school systems, etc. So I want to share a story about what my year has been like the nitty gritty details of what my year has been like. And this is something that I haven't posted online about because I haven't really been ready to talk about it until recently. And I shared a little bit of it on the podcast, but in a very general way. So this year, on January 1st, I got COVID. And I got the kind of COVID that messed with my thyroid. And when my thyroid got messed with, it also messed with not just the metabolics of my body and weight gain and whatever, but it also messed with my existing chronic illness, which is liver disease, liver cirrhosis, and it messed with my mental health. And so I was, I have a daily practice of movement in the morning, and all of the tools that I was used to using that I usually teach other people, it all started to come apart. It all started to fall apart. The wheels came off, and those tools were either not working or just keeping my head above water. And luckily I'm scrappy, right? The nervous system flex, I got other tools. And I was able to build structures for myself that made sense and that really did sustain me and help me access my fuck yes to be able to do the work that I do and care for my children and show up in the ways that felt good to me and that felt congruent to me. And but because the back end of my life, I required a lot more holding of, my brain in the mornings felt like a kitchen junk drawer that needed to be cleaned out. So I needed to do this every morning. There was just so much just ancestral stuff in there. It was just like a whole clean out process. And so that just required more of my time. It just required more energy. And that's energy I didn't have to launch the way that I had been launching. It was like a year of just clearing out all the shadowy shit. And in order to be able to do that and not show up like the hot mess it sometimes felt like behind the scenes, I had to slow down, really had to slow down. And that's partly what's happening in the collective, is that all of this shadow work is showing up in order to, we're surrendering to some of the more difficult parts of our beingness. And we're having to really sit with it and be with it. And it's forcing us to slow down, right? And so it really got me to think about what is sustainable for me. How can I design my business around the fact that I need more rest? I need a lot of rest, and I need time to move my body. I need more time in nature. I need more time away from my computer. I need more time doing absolutely nothing. I need more time for play with my children, right? And that presence that I want to give my kids while they're still young. So that got me thinking about sustainability. And I work with a lot of people who have chronic illness or who have PTSD and are CEOs of their business. And so it's it has to fit around your life. I know a lot of people who have, other life circumstances. I have a difficult co-parenting situation where it's I need to be flexible if shit starts hitting the fan, right? So my business has to be set up around that. And so I switched to a strategy around getting clients where I didn't really have to think about it too much. I was thinking about other platforms that might work better for me so that I don't have to do force in any way, because my body will not be forced. I've had my body break down. 10 years ago, I had a total nervous system breakdown, physical breakdown, and my body just won't do it again. Nervous system. Sorry about that. Trying to see the comments in the Zoom. Oh, let me just turn down my volume. That'll do it. Okay. I want to see who's here. Hi. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So yeah, so I'm just going to present one way to scale to 6 figures. And there's so many different ways to tweak this model so that it works for you, your body, what's happening in your life, the type of business you have, and I want to name that, like, a lot of what's sold out there, like, we're obsessively looking outside of ourselves to find solutions. I was doing this too. But if there's anything that I want you to take out of this 7-week series, is that intimate self-connection, and that the truth that you access from that place is the source from which you design your business around your needs and your life. It has to support how you live your life. That's the foundation. And it's also like that intimate self-connection is also where you access your fuck yes in how you create your offers, right? This is part of the accessing your fuck yes is a nervous system thing. Your fuck yes is also about identity healing and like dissolving the parts of you that want to remain small, right? There's a death process that happens, ego death process that happens. And it's also like that self-connection, intimate self-connection is, in truth, is also how you show up in your full humanity, which is what makes you absolutely magnetic to clients, right? When you just say the truth and just show up as you are, like, people want to be affirmed in their own humanity. So when they see it in other people, it's like, right? They can like relax their shoulders and they feel relief. And I know that not everybody in this group is a coach. So, with this model I'm going to be presenting, just see what resonates, see what you can apply and tweak it to fit you and your business. This is not about a cookie cutter formula. And the truth is that the model that I'm presenting has been exploited in the past. It has been used to cram as many people into a group, for example, to make tons of money, and it's been used to replicate toxic capitalism and oppressive marketing tactics. And part of the slowdown we're experiencing this year, part of the whole idea around sustainability and slow and sustainable being the new sexy, is that we are dismantling capitalism within our own bodies, right? We are dissolving it within our own bodies so that we can dissolve it within our business practice and thereby sort of shift the energetics of the world, of the, whether you want to say the business world, but I think it radiates through all aspects and domains. What I desire to see more in business is like where we are serving people deeply, where we're offering transformational experiences while also you supporting yourself spiritually, emotionally, physically, and energetically, right? Money operates both on the energetic and physical plane. So when I talk about sustainability, it has to work for your bank account as well. So yes, because we're done. It has to sustain you, financially, because we are done with the starving artists, right? With the starving healers. We're done with self-extraction and self-sacrifice. So the sustainability piece is really about like, how much money do you need? How much money do you need to sustain yourself monthly? So here's a shorthand path. So there's 4 steps. The first step is a connection platform. You need a way for people to connect to you, because business is a practice of intimacy. It is a practice of being seen and seeing your clients, allowing them to see themselves in your content, right? And being consistent in how you show up. Consistency can mean you showing up as yourself. Consistency can mean showing up every day. It can mean showing up 3 times a week, right? You define that. But consistency is about a certain amount of repetition. And what that does is build trust. You need to build trust. Business is built on trust, and especially where business is going, we have to build trust. It's, and the consistency really is like, think about going to the gym and lifting weights. When you're practicing visibility, which is, harder than it sounds sometimes, like just shit just comes up around visibility. You don't just like, you don't get built from just going to the gym for a week or 2 weeks. It has to be consistent. It has to be long-term, and it has to, like, you're not going to go to the gym and do like a massive workout and then like be blown out the next day. You do 30 minutes, 20 minutes of cardio, 30 minutes of cardio. You don't do 50 minutes of cardio and then you like do a whole bunch of weights, because then you're going to be in bed the next day. You won't be able to walk. So this is the same idea. Consistency has to be defined by what your nervous system is available for, right? What your energy signature is a yes to. And what you're doing here by having a connection platform is you're letting people get to know you. You're letting people see you. There's a lot that goes into the connection piece, because of course we're talking about sharing your story and letting people see you, which is a piece of intimacy healing that I'll be getting into the next workshop. But in the end, you want to let people know how to find you, how to access your services, right? And a lot of people make the mistake of going on multiple platforms at once. We're talking social media here, right? Start with one or start with two. See what you have the capacity for. See what you can show up consistently for. And it might be just one. I like Facebook and Instagram. And I'm really starting to kind of fall in love with YouTube because it's searchable. I like the idea of, having it be like a video website, a video-based website. I'm dipping my toe into TikTok, but my nervous system is like, what? Don't do that. So I'm just repurposing my content there and just seeing how it feels and like getting used to it, getting acclimated. I was on LinkedIn for a while, but frankly, it made my pussy dry, and I just didn't like that I had to limit the number of characters I use. It just felt really boring. So do one thing at a time and do it really well. Get used to doing it well, and then add another platform if that's what you want to do. I know people who are not on social media at all, who are spiritual advisors, healers that are absolutely anti-social media and have done organic outreach through community or invite people to email lists, through in-person workshops, right? Like, you can do this without being on social media. If that's something that, like, if social media doesn't turn you on, you don't have to do it. And if you are on multiple platforms, you can batch your content. You can just share one piece of content on multiple platforms. That's how you scale with your nervous system. So don't burn out trying to do it all at once. You have to create repetitions and patterns, which is also what helps make your nervous system feel safe. Okay, so the second step is a freebie, a sample of your work. You want to offer people what it feels like to be in your space, right? It can be, for example, a high-level overview of the path that you offer people, or step one in the process, for example. You can do a pre-recorded video, you can offer a PDF, it can be a guided audio, it can be a series of emails. Again, like, you have to come back to yourself and ask, what would feel really good for me? Or, maybe ask people what would be most helpful. Listen around and see, what do people want? What are people struggling with? What am I sort of noticing with the people that I'm currently working with? Where do they struggle? What do they want? So you can sort of orient to what people want, but you can also orient to what would feel really good for you. And ideally, it's both, It's really about letting people get to know you in your work. And you can connect it to your email list so that you can have continual contact with these people. And think of it being something like high value, something around, between $25 and $100 value. You want to offer people a sense of what it's like to be in your energy, and that also builds trust and it builds safety, right? It just lets them in a little bit. And the third step in this 4-step scalable business model is creating an offer. It can be an intensive, like a 90-minute intensive or a 60-minute intensive. It can be a workshop, whether it's online or in person. It can be a reading if you offer readings. Again, it can be a pre-recorded module too. If you don't like, if you don't like being on video, if it's something that is like for your neurodiversity, it just feels awful, have it be a series of pre-recorded modules, have it be maybe a 3 or 4 week Voxer access or 1 week Voxer access, or, there's so many options available and none of them are wrong. What's right for you is what turns you on, what would feel really juicy for you, and what takes into account your, not just your capacity, but what works with your system. I am someone who, I like video because I like seeing people's bodies because I'm a body worker. When I see people move, I also begin to feel into my body what's keeping people blocked. So I work best on video, even though I've done phone sessions. It's fine. It's been really powerful, but I prefer to be able to see people. So an offer. The thing with the offer, we can come up with so many offers, right? You have to fucking love your offer. You have to think your offer is the shit, or else you won't show up for it. You won't enjoy marketing it. You won't enjoy selling it. You have to absolutely love your offer. You have to be passionate about your offer the way you are about like a new partner that you have. Like, oh my God, this person is so amazing. Let me talk to you about them. They're like this, and this is the job they do, and da 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 da, right? We have to be excited, so excited that we can't stop talking about it. It's the shit. We have to believe it's the shit. So it really goes along with you loving it, and it has to be aligned with what lights you up, and it has to solve a problem for people. So it's helpful to get feedback from clients in order to craft, right, like an offer. But it has to solve a problem. What would be helpful to people? Ideally, the thing that I see that really actually brings in money for people is having 2 offers. One that represents your best work. For me, that's the one on work that I'm offering now. This is sort of a lazy launch into legacy. I'll share more about it in the afternoon today. But it's also like, something that represents your best work, and also something that where people can get more immediate results. Maybe it's a 4-week program. Maybe that it's pre-recorded, but something, it can be short-term, it can be long-term, but something that gets people that offers more immediate results. So something long-term, something short-term, where there's a contrast. So again, it has to solve a problem. People are wanting to solve problems. They just want to know that you have a solution, and you have to be in love with the solution. You have to be in full conviction that your solution works, and you have to be able to talk about why the solution works, how it works, so that people feel comfortable purchasing it from you. So the 4th step is crafting a group or one-on-one program. And I say that with all the caveats that I shared before, right? Like, you don't have to do a group or one-on-one program. This is what's really common in the coaching industry. This is what's typical in the coaching industry, but you don't have to do any of it. If it doesn't turn you on, then don't do it. I'm sharing it as something that has worked for me and something that I like, but you have to know who you serve and who you're attracting, what they're needing, what results are they getting, what results do they want. So you could do a 3-month one-on-one program. You could do a group program. If your time is more limited, it makes sense to go into a group program rather than a one-on-one. So if you have only like, I don't know, 10 hours a week to see clients, you know, it's not going to be sustainable for you to see 10 clients in those 10 hours. It would make more sense to have multiple people come into 1 or 2 of those hours and then have the other hours for maybe one-on-one clients or maybe for other work in your business, right? Creative work, writing, things like that. So what you don't want to do is get into selling a whole bunch of small packages, because then you have to sell a lot to reach whatever monthly income needs you have. And, you know, ideally, when you have that initial offer, you'll be getting feedback from people that you know how they like to receive the work that you're offering. You know what results they're getting, you know what they're wanting more of. So you're working with other people's neurodiversity, but you're also working with your own. Like, you want to know, it's like, do people prefer audio? Do people prefer video? Do they like worksheets? You know, this is the kind of feedback that you want before crafting a group program. And also, like, I love a good PDF, but my God, making a PDF is just like, it just fries my brain. So I have to either get somebody else to do it, or I do it in a way where it's like, okay, here's, you know, maybe I put it in the Facebook group as a post rather than create a whole PDF around it. So that's another option. So you get to kind of, you know, need permission. You know, I don't do PowerPoint, although I appreciate also a good PowerPoint. So don't do any of these things if they don't light you up. People who are excited about you because maybe their neurodiversity matches yours, or maybe they're willing to overlook you not doing a PDF, things like that. So, and the important thing about a group program, you want to be offering people payment plan options. This obviously incentivizes people to invest in themselves without it taxing their nervous system. It makes it sustainable for them. And it also supports you because you have regular monthly income. And people scale to 6 figures this way. People really are able to scale to 6 figures using this 4-step scalable business model. But what I really want you to do is to figure out how much you need to pay your bills, to support you, and to build overflow from there. Because our obsession with 10K months is really toxic. Like, you may have a partner who has a full-time job, and maybe those expenses, maybe that salary covers your expenses and you're just here to make supplemental income. Or maybe you are the sole breadwinner and you do need 10K a month or 8K a month to pay your bills and pay your private health care and all that kind of stuff. You have to decide what's right for you, because yes, there's an obsession with that having be the goal, but there's, you know, the goal and the success is in the sustainability, not just in the financial outcome. So I invite you to sit down and get really grounded with it. Let's say your one-on-one coaching is $800 for 3 months. Depending on your monthly income needs and requirements, you'll need about 10 clients to have an 8K month. Maybe you have an existing job and you have 3 clients at $800 to supplement your income. And if a group program is more sustainable in terms of time versus energy spent, consider what a 3-month program would entail. Like, how many calls, if you want to include calls? Does it include in between support? Does it include video lesson? Again, you don't have to include any of these things. These have been standardized in the coaching industry and you don't need to do any of them. It absolutely doesn't have to if that's not something that you want to do. Some people do group programs without any calls at all. They don't do video calls at all. They just do Voxer or WhatsApp. That's WhatsApp, WhatsApp. But let's say your program does have all of these features. It has the coaching call, it has the in-between Voxer support, maybe it has video lessons. So let's say your program has all these features and it could be $500 a month. So the total cost, let's say the total cost is $1,500. So painful. You would need 16 people in your program to make $8K a month. And of course, there are hybrid models, right? You can have, and these are the ones that I love best. This is my business is a hybrid model. So it represents a diversity of ways people can work with you and with a diversity of income streams. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cough. Again, coming back to checking in with your nervous system, checking in with your fuck yes, checking in with what your nervous system can hold right now, organizationally and time-wise. You can have a combination of individual clients and group clients, which is what I like to do. Let's say you have 3 one-on-one clients, and let's get a piece of paper and write it out. Let's reverse engineer an 8K month or a 5K month, whatever you need to sustain you. So bigger program packages with extended payment plans are the basis of a 6-figure business. You can start with a 6-week program and then offer a 3-month and then a 6-month and then a year-long, right? Like sometimes we need to start with something small, like a 1-month or 4-week thing, and maybe, okay, so maybe a 3-month thing and then 6-month. You know, so we scale based on what our nervous system can handle. Because when your nervous system is not ready for that, you won't step in. It's like you'll be betraying your body, and it's just not sustainable. And you won't be showing up in full integrity with your clients. So as you can tell, these are the 4 steps, right? It's like platform, like having people be able to connect with you, offer them a freebie, create a juicy offer that you can so get behind, because the getting behind part is the showing up in the nervous system part. And the 4th step is crafting a one-on-one or group program. So obviously there's so much that goes on behind the scenes of these 4 steps, right? There's the courage piece around showing up. There is really thinking about what's sustainable for you. It really is about disrupting toxic capitalism within your own body, slowing down, resting more, thinking about what feels really good. It is about dissolving the parts of your identity that want to remain small, that want to remain hidden, the parts of you that believe that you can't show up in your full humanity and still be loved, or that your business will abandon you. You know, all of these pieces come up around our relationship with our business. And then there's the mindset issue, the mind gremlins that come up. I'll be talking about that more next week, about the identity and intimacy wounds that come up, that are, you know, the 5 most common that come up in our business, you know, the gaslighter, the saboteur, all of those parts, you know, some of us experience them as voices in our heads. I don't necessarily experience that. And I often don't talk about voices in my head. I only experience sort of a speed up in the voices when I know my ego is about to like actually dissolve a piece of that. But I experience it more as sensation in my body. I experience the inner critic as like a feeling rather than a thought. So, but the mindset piece is really, really huge here. It is really about like creating that space between like choosing what you're going to believe, on a daily basis, and behaving, acting from those beliefs versus the ones that are like automatic or conditioned or fear-based. And obviously, we don't want to plow over our fears. We don't want to override our fears, which is a lot of what mindset work has taught us to do. It really is about meeting our fear with gentleness and compassion so that none of you feel, all of you, like you can bring all of yourself and no part of you is sort of left behind or stomped on or harmed in the process. So yes, so all of the piece around identity and mindset and nervous system is covered in the first live video in the group, which I pinned in the featured section. And next week, I'll be talking about identity and intimacy wounds, the common 5 that show up in your business. Thank you for being here. And if you're watching on the replay, let me know what's resonating, what is exciting you, what is not making sense, what questions do you have, and I'll come in and answer afterwards. All right.